Marshal Louis-Alexandre Berthier. None of Napoleon's subordinates can have been more important to him than Louis Berthier. For although he rarely led troops in the field, he was invaluable as one of the first professional staff officers. Born at Versailles, he began his career as a military engineer, like his father, but very soon undertook staff duties, notably with Rochambeau in the American War of Independence. In the early revolutionary period, he commanded the Versailles National Guard for a short time, helping in the escape of Louis XVI's aunts, before resuming staff duties under Rochambeau, Lafayette and Luckner as Marshal de Camp from 1792. Suspended briefly because of his royalist background, he was reinstated and sent as Chief of Staff to Napoleon in Italy. The latter's early evaluation of Berthier was accurate, a man of courage, activity, talent and character in a role for which he was ideally suited. Although at times he held field commands, he had little skill in that direction. Napoleon remarked somewhat unkindly that nature has evidently designed many for a subordinate situation, and among these is Berthier. As a chief of staff, he had no superior, but he was not fit to command 500 men. His abilities in putting Napoleon's instructions into practice, however, were huge. His tireless work and attention to detail made him extremely effective in administering the large and complex staff system, which expanded as armies increased in size and operated over a wider area. Berthier also served as Minister of War from 1799 until 1800, and again from 1800 to 1807, and was in nominal command of the Army of Reserve at the Marengo campaign, Napoleon being excluded officially from command as First Consul, where he was wounded in the arm. He was among the first creation of the Marshalsea in 1804, became Prince of Neuchâtel in March 1806, and, though his failings in tactical matters were again demonstrated at the beginning of the 1809 campaign, Prince of Wagram in August 1809. Throughout these campaigns he was Napoleon's side, transmitting his orders and turning his plans into reality, and controlling with great skill the various staff departments which administered the army. He was left behind temporarily when Napoleon abandoned the remains of the Russian expedition in 1812, but was back with imperial headquarters for the 1813-1814 campaigns, in which he suffered. Vital though he was to Napoleon's conduct of campaigns, and although Napoleon regarded him as a friend, the Emperor may never have appreciated Berthier's true value, once describing him as merely a chief clerk. Napoleon was even capable of assaulting him physically, and Marbot believed that Berthier so came to dread Napoleon's outbursts of fury that it inhibited his natural talents and stifled his initiative, as he merely followed orders rather than making suggestions. Berthier's devotion to duty was total, but he claimed to be overworked to the point of death, and apparently became somewhat morose, especially after Napoleon arranged for him a marriage with Princess Marie Elizabeth of Bavaria in March 1808, instead of to his beloved mistress, Madame Visconti. Her husband died shortly after Berthier's wedding, whereupon he was said to have been bemoaning his miserable condition. With a little more constancy, Madame Visconti might have been his wife. After Napoleon's first abdication, he supported the Bourbons and remained loyal to the king upon Napoleon's return in 1815. The absence of one who had worked for him so diligently for so many years must have been felt keenly by Napoleon, in the 100 Days campaign. But Berthier never saw the final defeat of his old master, for on the 1st of June 1815 he fell to his death from a window at Bamberg in somewhat mysterious circumstances. It was probably just an accident, although suspicions were understandably aroused of either murder or suicide. The latter prompted by the fact that when he fell, Berthier was watching the passing of Russian troops en route to invade France.